Hi, let's get into a little practice today for our QL muscle, our quadratus lumborum muscle. It is a muscle that goes from the top of the hip bones, the iliums, all the way to the bottom of the rib cage. And it's a muscle that is regularly the culprit in back pain. If you are a weightlifter, then you've probably met this bad boy at some point. I have been struggling with it on and off, and just before a recent competition, it kind of got a little bit nasty. And here's a few things that I did to relieve some of the pain, to loosen it up, and also to strengthen and protect it. So this is a practice that you can use in parts. If you're in a lot of pain right now, then maybe just the first part of this practice, of this video, pay attention to. I'll put little bookmarks down there. If the pain is not that bad or gets a bit relieved from the first part, then we can move on to the second bit, which will be a little bit of self-manipulation. We'll use a ball of some kind. If you don't have one of these, even a tennis ball that you have around the house or a lacrosse ball would work great. If you want to get one of these, they're easy to obtain. Just go on your Amazon, look for the cheapest possible one that you can get. And if that is enough for you, if you're in pain, maybe not progressing to the next bit until the pain is a little bit relieved. In the third section, we'll start to move a little bit and work our way with some breath into some deeper stretches that we'll hold for a few breaths and see if we can relieve a little bit of the pain and tension that way. And if that's working for you and you're feeling good, then maybe progressing to the final part where we will work into a flow and some strengthening as well as stretching for the muscles of this area. So if you want to skip ahead, go ahead and skip ahead to the practice. If you want to talk a bit about the QL muscle, then it can help really when we are working with these muscles with the pain that they cause, visualizing the area, imagining what's going on in there can really help with its healing. In fact, when I was having my back pain in the recent weeks and phoned up my coach and was freaking out a little bit, and she said, look, it's gonna be okay. Almost just hearing that can relieve a little bit. And so when you're working with your back pain, whatever the cause of it is, we know that stress and psychological factors are going to influence that back pain. Yes, our lifestyle and whatever underlying thing is happening there, the muscle being injured or annoyed or strained, but also our emotional state, our stress, what's going on for us psychologically is definitely going to influence those muscles. So knowing where it is, so we can imagine breathing into it, we can imagine the action that it's doing as well is really important. The QL muscle is really involved in stability and bracing. So if you are lifting, for sure, you're bracing this area, keeping the hips in a certain position where the spine is, where the ribs are in relation to your hips is really, this muscle is very important in that. But there's also little muscles inside there that are working in conjunction with that, like your psoas and deep into your hip flexors. And all of these muscles are working in conjunction to keep you stable, and can also get very annoyed when movement is a little bit off. Maybe we have a habitual movement pattern of rounding our backs or sitting in this way, or can be an acute thing. We've had one lift that's been a bit off and it goes and it's painful. So thinking about how it moves, but also those deeper emotional things. So in this sort of area of our body, our hips, our low belly. We have a whole bunch of stuff that is involved with our parasympathetic nervous system. So, if we think about emotions as not, something that's just going on in the brain, but your emotions are a sort of communication system, a two-way communication between what is going on in here being communicated up to your brain, your logic, your reason, and also what is happening up here being communicated back down, sort of two-way kind of flow. And this is why stress is really important, because when we're having something that is challenging, that is stressful, it's this area first that sort of goes into protection mode. These muscles can very unconsciously tighten. There's a whole bunch of nerves intertwined in there that lead to our most important bits of our body, both our digestion, our sex organs, and also into our diaphragm, how we're breathing. And all this stuff is really useful to think about, because while we are doing this practice, if we can imagine slowing our breath and noticing the activity of our mind, not to fix it or change it, but maybe just to get a degree of separation from it, just to observe, okay, that's going on there. And visualizing all of this whole area in here, sending signals of safety to it, of it's okay. Even just that idea of, yes, I can recover. Yes, it can get better. All of that stuff can really have a huge impact, because there is this really strong link between the psychological and the physical. It's not very useful for us to think about them as two separate phenomena, but really how they work together, especially when it comes to what's going on in our back. And certainly that is why yoga is one of the ways to help it a lot. So let's get into this. If you have a mat, okay, great. If you don't, just a place on the floor, even a towel to be on will work. If you don't have one of these, then we get to the part of using it. You can always just fast forward or find something that is a little bit similar. Some kind of ball or something that you have will work great. If you have one of the roller things, you can use that. I just find that this is definitely going to be a lot more effective for what we want. And let's get started working on your QL. So we're going to begin our practice by sitting down onto your surface, onto the mat or the floor. I realize that this can cause a lot of pain. One of the ways that I know when my QL is not good is it can hurt to sit for long periods. It can also hurt to do that kind of rolling over motion. So just gently bringing yourself down to the surface underneath you. Knees bent, feet planted, and find a place for the feet where the hips can be settled, and we're going to let the spine just sort of settle into its natural curve. Some things that can help with that is even taking the hands maybe across the chest, kind of giving yourself a little hug. If that's not feeling good for you, then yeah, let them rest on the earth next to you. What we're going to take a few moments doing is getting the head in line. So not letting the chin come up towards the ceiling very much, but just letting the head naturally line up. So imagine the spine just naturally lining up. For the legs, some of us are going to feel comfortable just, knees bent just as they are. If the spine is feeling really uncomfortable here, it may feel good to take the feet out a little bit wider, maybe as wide as your mat or your towel, and letting the knees come together and rest on each other. That can take a lot of pressure off of the thighs. So the first few moments, that is the aim, is to take the pressure off. Maybe it helps to turn the toes out slightly. And imagining these thigh muscles just starting to release. The femur, the whole aim of this is to let the femur, that long bone in your leg that goes into your hip, just start to let it settle naturally, just fall naturally into that hip socket
So all the little connective muscles there, all the little tissues that connect can just start to release. So maybe arms are crossed, maybe arms are by your side. And we're going to start to slow our breathing. Just feel the next inhale, the next exhale. Maybe even closing eyes to really feel. And let's add a little bit of imagery as the body just settles and releases. Imagine for your next breath to start where your tailbone is, right there at the bottom of your tailbone. And as you inhale, breathing up the spine, imagine it traveling all the way to the crown of the head. And as you exhale, breathe down the front of the body, past the heart, the stomach, the groin, and back to the tailbone. And then we start again. Inhale, breathing up the spine. And exhale down the front of the body. Inhale slowly. Exhale slowly. Just continue with that visualization, with that slow breath. Just letting those thigh muscles melt. And know that by slowing and regulating your breath is the most powerful way to let these tissues begin to soften, to aid the healing process. Imagine that your knees are just kind of hanging on something. And on each side of those knees hanging, the muscles of the thigh, the muscles of the calf, the shin are just kind of draped over, just melting and releasing towards the ground. And as you continue that slow, deep breath, imagine a waterfall. A waterfall from the knees down towards the hips, just going down that thigh muscle. And a waterfall on the other side from the knees down the shins. You can imagine it pooling around your feet. Keep returning to that slow breath as we almost feel the water falling down on each side of the knee, allowing those muscles just to ease and release all their tension. Now, if you are in a lot of pain today, and this feels like enough for you, you could even stay here for 10 minutes, even longer, just focusing on the breath, and that waterfall. Whatever you decide to do, when it's time to move out of this shape, we don't want any quick movements. We want time to really let the body settle. So if you're deciding that you want to progress to the next part, or you're ready to move on with your day, maybe letting those hands go, maybe taking a moment just to feel the body. And if you're planning on stopping it here rather than going on to the rest of the practice, do so by rolling onto your side. If you have a side that's less painful, roll onto the less painful side and maybe rest there for a bit. Being very careful and slow, maybe taking 4 or 5 breaths here before you push yourself up and move on with your day. But if you're going to progress, staying there with the knees bent and finding our ball or whatever we're using. Now you may have one side, one QL that feels yucky and the other one doesn't feel so bad. We're going to choose to start with the side that feels not so bad. Let's choose the better feeling side first to work on. I know that might seem counterintuitive, but any tension that is in this area, we'll want to start with the easy part first and then move on to the more troublesome part. So imagining where this pelvis is, and the top of it is where that muscle is connecting. So we're going to get our ball, and on the side that feels not bad or not as bad, we're going to roll just a little bit to the side and place this right where the bone stops and the muscle begins. So the placement is going to be, there's your spine. It's just a little bit to the side of the spine. We don't need to roll on the spine. We want to get that kind of meaty part. If you're not sure where to go, you can even roll and feel, okay, now it's on the bone. You can feel the bone, and then roll a little bit away from the bone, upwards on the back, and you'll feel, okay, that's on that muscle. And once again, we want to relax the arms and the shoulders and slow the breath. So return to that slow breath. We're going to take 5 breaths in each part. So breathing slow here. Even more slowly. If you feel discomfort, that's a sign to breathe even more slowly. What can help is, again, imagining that circle of breath around the body, up the spine and down the front of the body. And then it depends on what degree of discomfort you have. You may find that you can just sort of wiggle the hips down, and so we're moving slightly up the muscle, or you might find that you want to roll away from it and then place it sort of midway up. So if you think about where the bony part is, your pelvis, and where your ribs are, you want it kind of halfway up that muscle. And again, to breathe. And then one more point. We want just where the rib cage starts. So again, if that feels confusing, you probably can find, okay, that's where the bony part of my ribs and just underneath that. And just let the ball sit there and breathe. Shoulders relaxed, face relaxed. This is why some of the philosophy, some of the practice of yoga is so valuable for healing these muscles and helping the body, because the word yoga is about union. The idea is really that everything is working in union. Your breath is totally connected with what's going to be going on in that muscle. What's happening in your mind, completely connected with what's going on in the healing of this muscle. And once we've made it to the top, if that's enough for you, feel free to take the ball away and just move on to the next bit. But sometimes I enjoy, if my body feels good for it, to move this leg around a bit. So perhaps we take a little, very connected with your breath. Inhale, pull it in, and exhale, move it away. Another thing that can feel good is to exhale, take it over to the side, take the knee over to the side, and inhale it to the center. Just a way to kind of aid the massage that this ball can give you. And maybe go back to the point where you felt the most, whatever you want to call it, discomfort or whatever, and maybe try moving there, the knee out to the side or the leg away and back. Another option is to make a little figure 4 with the ankle on the opposite knee, and finding stillness that can just create a little bit more pressure on the ball, or a little roll side to side. I would suggest do it with your breath. So make an inhale, move, and an exhale, move. And then real key here is when we reach under, pull this ball away, let the feet rest, and take a moment just to let that side, those muscles recover. Don't rush. Don't rush. The temptation can be, it's quick, go on to the next side. But just let that area sort of settle. Maybe even reconnect with thighs relaxing. And then let's move on to the other side. Assuming this is your more painful side, you might find that the breath is even more important. So the same thing, setting it right where the pelvis, the top of the pelvis stops and the muscle begins. Take a good conscious effort to relax your shoulders, relax your jaw, and slow your breath. And then your choice how you move up that muscle, either rolling to the side, moving the ball with your hand, or rolling the body along the ball. Finding a spot that feels like it needs some attention. You will know those spots that need attention because they don't feel good. And we're not looking to, create worse pain, but certainly manipulating a muscle that's annoyed is gonna feel pretty intense. And this is why the breath is so important, because the signal that your body is going to be getting is danger, not good, not safe, need to do something. And the way that you're going to counteract that and help this to actually create a release is by slowing the breath. And again, observing those thoughts thinking, oh, this is not good. This doesn't feel good. Just observing them. Obviously, if something really is not working, then move away from it. You can always come back to it another day, another time. We're not trying to override the body's protection, but we're trying to really take control of the body's healing process by a little bit of pressure to increase the stimulation, the blood flow to that area, to release any knots, and with the breathing to help the nervous system to go into its healing state. And let's take it up to where that muscle is meeting the ribs and breathe there, unless maybe you did already with the habit of talking too long. And again, we can start to explore a little bit of movement. This is just an option. Don't have to, but maybe ankle onto opposite knee, maybe the knee rotating outwards and back to center, maybe an extension, or maybe a combination. And I would suggest going back to a spot that feels like it is the one, because it is screaming at you a little bit more than the others, and working it there, finding a way. Imagine like when you go for a sports massage and they really get their fist in there. That's what you want to recreate with this ball. And slowing your breath. Once again, when we come to release it, it's really important just to let the body have a little rebound here. Let everything melt, release. And not being in a hurry to move. If you're in no pain at all, it's fine to do whatever. But if we're being gentle on this muscle and we've just manipulated it, it's probably best to take a little roll to the side and take a moment there. And then slowly pushing ourselves up. And we're going to come to tabletop shape, to our hands and our knees. Now, if the muscle is really annoyed, then maybe this is enough for you today, and you come and try to do this next bit when you feel ready. But if you feel okay, coming to hands and knees, the knees under the hips, the hands under the shoulders, and we're going to reconnect with that slow breath. That slow breath is going to be our friend all the way through. So with your next inhale, we're going to start to lift up through the chest, the chin lift, the belly drops, arching through the spine. Imagine bringing your tailbone like it wants to reach the back of your head. And as we exhale, start to round through the spine, tuck the chin in, pull the belly in, the head can come between the arms. And we repeat with your breath rhythm. Inhale. This is our cow pose. And exhale, a shape like an angry cat. And just repeat. Inhale. And exhale. Next inhale, coming to center. Pull the belly into support, the spine straight, the head in a line. And start to take that right leg out behind you. Push through the heel. So it might be some stretch here, might be some strengthening. Obviously, if it feels too much, you can always put that toe onto the ground. If you need a bit more, you can also extend the opposite arm. That left arm can extend. And as we exhale, take a little crunch in. And as we inhale, take it out. As we exhale, let's crisscross this right leg behind the left. And maybe take a few little circles here. We get kind of almost make it like a C shape through the body. You feel the side of the body stretching. And you can roll the ankle in one direction, roll it in the other. Feel the side of the body stretch. If it's too much, back away from it. You can do that by bending the knee, having less of a sideways arch there. And then we're going to let that right thigh come behind that left thigh. See if we can wiggle the feet to the side a little bit. So the left foot is reaching out towards the right and the right foot towards the left, kind of like you're crossing your legs. And we're going to see if we can walk the hands back, back, back. You have a little space between those heels, hopefully, that we can come and sit. Now don't worry if the legs are very different, if it's more lifted up here or whatever is happening. Totally okay, but we got a little tied up thighs here, as much as your body will allow. And either staying right here, this might be enough of a stretch through the hips for you. If you want to take a little bit more, use an inhale to slowly lift up through that chest. And as you exhale, take yourself forward just as far as your body will allow. Again, we don't want to overstretch or annoy the muscle. Only if it feels like, yeah, this is working for me, then you could let yourself hang out as deep as you want. Sometimes the forehead will come down to that leg. And we're just going to hang out for a few breaths. Slow breaths. Being super slow. As we start to inhale and press the ground away a little bit, take a moment there. No rushing. Take an inhale. And as we exhale, we can start to crawl the hands forward. Reaching that right leg back out. This time take it over to the side, just as far as your body will allow. And as we exhale, let's take a little journey back with those hips. So maybe we come a little ways, maybe a lot. You're gonna feel a stretch from the inside of the thigh, maybe through the back here. Again, not aiming for pain, just aiming for some slight discomfort, okay, but just a stretch. And again, relax the shoulders and slow the breath. With your next inhale, pressing into the hands, coming forward nice and slow and easy, stretching that right leg again out behind, and then exhale, bending the knee, take it down to your tabletop. Let's connect with the breath again with some cat-cow. As we inhale, lifting up through the heart. Exhale, round and tuck. Now be very easy and gentle with these. Sometimes when this muscle is sore, this needs a lot of gentleness because it doesn't want to move that much. That's okay. Just even a little slight movement of the hips maybe is okay. You can always leave it out altogether. And then our left leg, we're going to inhale, take it out. Option, extend the other arm. Only an option, don't have to. And as we exhale, the knee comes underneath. As we inhale, we open up big. And as we exhale, we crisscross. Maybe those little rotations here. Just a few breaths to explore that side stretch. If you rotate one way, rotate the other way. You can even try moving your head towards the right, for example, to see if we can stretch the side of the body. And then when we're ready, inhale, we start to cross those legs, make a little space between the heels, and exhale, we take that walk back, back, back. Don't compare, it just is important to have a sensation of a stretch through the hips more than it's important that it looks a certain way. So Just finding your way to settle in, and again, fine if we're feeling a lot of sensation here, just stay here and feel the stretch. Only if you feel like you are able to, it's going to work for you to inhale, lengthen, and exhale. Maybe fold. We certainly want to think about melting rather than pulling ourselves in or gripping, releasing those shoulders, releasing your jaw, returning to that slow, slow breath. As we inhale, slowly start to rise. Maybe taking an extra exhale there just to settle. Before we inhale, crawling those hands forward. The left leg extends, and this time out to the side. Exhale, where can those hips go to on this side? Might be different than the other side. Don't feel like it's a win to get it super low. We just want to have a sensation of a deep stretch wherever that is in your body today. It's actually really important to build that awareness that can come with a practice like yoga, because just personally I find with back pain, we get into this habit of thinking, well, I should be able to do this, or I usually can do that. And with deep awareness comes that wisdom of like, maybe today isn't the day. Live to fight another day. As we inhale, we start to rise up, extend that left leg out behind, and exhale, take it down. So judge for yourself how that feels. If that was enough for you, then maybe repeat those stretches slowly, maybe go again, maybe leave it there, being very gentle with your body. But if you want to move on to building this into a flow that will also help to strengthen the muscle, let's go for it. For me personally, if the muscle is really unhappy today, I don't want to be focusing on strengthening. I want to just be focusing on releasing that tension and using that deep breath to help it recover. So if this is it for you today, I would recommend laying down, having a little time to let those muscles reset before you roll to your side and move on with your day. If you're gonna flow with us into this next bit, let's go for it. So what we're gonna do is just start where we did. We're just gonna add a little touch on here. So just like before, we're gonna inhale into cow and exhale our angry cat. Just gonna move with the breath, but a shorter in each shape. Inhale, the right leg extends, maybe the left arm. Exhale, we can take a crunch. Inhale, we open. Exhale, we cross and start to move on back. Beautiful. You can take an extra inhale and an extra exhale. This time as we inhale, we're going to rise up, reach, and exhale, twist to the right. Maybe look over the shoulder. Inhale to reach, exhale, twist to the left. Inhale, hands plant. We start to walk the hands forward, right leg extends out to the side, just like before. And one exhale to take it back. Let it go.
Here's where we're going to add on. So inhale into our leg extension. This time as we exhale, we pull the knee in and see if we can cross the right ankle over that left thigh there. We start to tuck these left toes in, the fingers spread wide, and our next inhale, press into the hands, lift the hips up into a sort of figure four, down dog. Head can come between those arms, feel the stretch. And as we exhale, just step this right foot up, the left knee comes down. So you decide if this is enough for your back today, maybe staying right here in this shape. If you wish, you can take the hands onto the knees, and no extra credit, but only if you feel like it, arms can come up to the sky. And as we exhale, let's take a little transition. The hands can come down, the back toes tuck. Rotate that back heel down. We start to straighten out through this right leg. The right hand might come to the shin, it might stay on the floor, it might come to the foot. And then we inhale the left arm up to the sky into our triangle. So this is going to have a stretch for these back muscles, also to strengthen them. Look up at the hand. As we exhale, bending the knee, this left hand comes back down, and we're going to come onto the outside of that left foot and shoot the right leg back. So we're going to come into a side plank. Totally your option. You could put that right foot on the floor to kind of help you. We just want to push this side up. You might stack those legs. You might try to do a little V shape or something like that, just strengthening through that muscle on the side and the back. And as we exhale, turning towards the mat, inhale, the knees come down. I'm just gonna take off my other sock. And let's do the other side. Inhale, our cow. Exhale, our cat. Left leg inhales, maybe the opposite arm, you choose. Exhale to crunch. Inhale, open. Exhale, cross, and we come back, back, back. Have an inhale to lengthen and exhale to fold. As we inhale, we rise up, and exhale, twist to the left. Inhale, reach. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, hands come forward. We crawl it forward, left leg extends, and exhale out to the side. One time, sink it back. Here's where we add it. As we inhale, take it forward, and exhale, see if we can cross this left over the right. And it's totally okay if that foot doesn't kind of reach and you have to move the knee back, you have to use your hand. It doesn't have to look great. Tucking those back toes, inhale, press into the hands. Create that figure four. And as we exhale, we're going to step that left foot to the top of the mat. Once again, sometimes too, it lands back here and we have to help it up with our hand. That's totally fine. Taking the back knee down. And you choose how to take this lunge. You can inhale here, 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 whatever feels good. Our exhale is transition. The hands can come down to help you. Pivot the back heel down. That left leg straightens. Left hand, decide where that wants to go. Foot, shin, floor. Inhale, right arm reach up and look up at that hand. Imagine you're leaning back behind you. So we get the side of the body really stretching as well as strengthening. Exhale, again, the whole exhale to transition. The right hand comes down. We turn onto the outside of the right foot and the left leg. Does it need to support you? Can it stack? Can it lift? And then exhale, we find our plank. Inhale, knees down, and we're just going to flow like that with our breath. You can leave something out, you can add something on, but let's go for it. Inhale, cow.
Exhale, our cat. So rest anytime if you need to. Inhale, right leg extend. Exhale, crunch under. Inhale. Exhale, crisscross and travel back. Inhale, spine lengthen. Exhale, take a nice little fold if it's in there. Then we have our twists. Inhale and exhale. I'm twisting to the right, but it doesn't really matter. Inhale and exhale, so long as you do both sides. Inhale to center, we crawl forward, right leg extends. Exhale to the side and sink it back. Here's where we added. Inhale, we extend. Exhale, we find a way to crisscross. Tuck the toes. Inhale, our figure 4 down dog. Exhale to step that right foot. The back knee comes down. How do you want to take this lunge? You choose. And then we exhale, lengthening out through the legs, back heel pivots down. Inhale, the left arm up to the sky, our triangle. Exhale, we start to transition, left hand down, rolling onto the left side. Inhale, our side plank. Exhale, plank. Inhale, the knees down. We begin again. Inhale and exhale. Left leg, inhales, reach. Exhale, tuck. Inhale and exhale, crisscross, start to travel. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, we crawl it out, extend that leg. Exhale, reach to the side with that foot. Sink. Here's where we added. Inhale, reach that leg. Exhale, cross ankle over thigh. Tuck the back toes. Inhale, figure 4 down dog. Exhale to step, back knee down. Inhale, your version of the lunge. Exhale, make that transition, legs lengthen, back heel down. Inhale, triangle, right arm to the sky. Exhale, back to the earth, turning onto the right side. Inhale, our side plank. Exhale, our plank. Knees touch down with our inhale. And we begin again. Let's take it through one more round. You can find your own breath. Exhale, move with your own pace. Right leg, inhale. And you probably notice that we lose that connection with our breath a lot. Exhale, take it back. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. And that is totally our twists. The purpose of doing something like this is it really helps us to notice, wow, even when I'm trying to think about my breath, I lose it. So how much more when I am saying I need to relax, am I really not? Inhale that right leg and exhale, take it to the side. Sink. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, crisscross. Tuck those back toes. Inhale, down dog with the figure 4. Exhale to step. Inhale, our lunge. Exhale, we transition. Back, heel down, both legs straighten. Inhale, left arm to the sky, our triangle, lean back. Exhale, shifting to the left side. Inhale, our side plank. Exhale, plank. Inhale, knees down. Let's do that left leg. Our cow. Our cat. Stay breathing. Inhale, left leg. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, cross and sink back. Inhale and exhale. Here comes your twist. Do it in your own pace. Just connecting with that breath. Inhale, we travel forward, extend. Exhale out to the side and sink. Inhale, center and lengthen. Exhale, crisscross. Tuck those toes. Inhale, figure four, down dog. Exhale, step. Our last lunge as we inhale. Transition as we exhale. Inhale, triangle. Exhale, transition. Inhale, right side plank. Exhale, plank. This time we inhale, the knees come down, and exhale, sink those hips down to the heels behind you. The arms can stretch out or they can come around the sides. Just breathe here. Wisdom pose. The primary thing I hear from people who come to yoga for maybe the first couple times is, I don't know how to breathe. I didn't realize I don't know how to breathe. When we think about the relationship with that and the back pain, it becomes really apparent that there's a lot of reactions, physiological, psychological, happening in the body that are beyond our awareness. The whole purpose of yoga, the whole, basis of yoga is building that awareness for the sake of living better, more effectively. And we can use that for this QL muscle. So let's slowly start to shift onto your hips and then coming down onto your back. Just resting there for a moment. If you need to, again, the knees bent is totally fine. If you need a little rest, if you'd like one last stretch, take the heels out towards the corners of your mat so the legs are a little bit wide, and reach the hands overhead so the arms are also like in a little kind of V shape, stretching out. Just take a moment for the body to settle in a great big star shape on the earth. And let's slowly, obviously test this out. If your back is not happy, then ease back away from it. But let's start to move the left leg, the left heel over towards the right. And the left arm, left wrist reaching over towards the right. Maybe grab it with the right hand. So we're making a side stretch. It's almost like a crescent shape. I know it's really hard to see without the camera being above, but almost like a kind of banana shape with the feet towards the right side of the mat and the hands towards the right side of the mat. As much as possible, keeping the hips and the shoulders down onto the mat so we have a side stretch. Don't go to too much pain, just a little bit of sensation is fine. You can cross an ankle, either left over the right or the right over the left, whichever feels like is more effective for you. And then slow the breath. really gently and slowly release the bind that you have with the hands. Release the foot. Return to that star shape. And just let the body settle. Feel the difference between right and left side. And let's try the other side. So the right foot can start to crawl over towards the left. The right hand reaching over, maybe the left hand can grab it. If the shoulders feel like they're rolling away from the earth, just ease back a little bit so the back, the hips, the spine, the shoulders can stay grounded. Crisscrossing those ankles if that works for you, and just letting this stretch grow. Imagine from the hips to the ribs, just gently easing. Again, picturing where that muscle is, breathing into it. Being really slow as we let the hands go, let the feet go. Maybe moving the hands down by the side. And just letting the body settle into the surface beneath you. Taking this most important shape, your shavasana. Just let all the tissues release. The muscles of your face, around your eyes and jaw, just melting. And if you have time, you might just turn the video off and just stay here for a while. And be practicing that breath of up the spine as you inhale and down the front of the body as you exhale. Or breathing into wherever you feel pain, and imagine the healing starting there. If you're ready to move on, then let's do so really slowly. Just start by, again, bending those knees and giving the spine a chance to settle, the muscles around the hips and the back a chance to just accustom to that little movement. And then slowly rolling onto the side of the body. You're making a little pillow with your head. Take a moment there to, again, let the tissues accustom to that shift that you made. I'm going to be really slow and careful as we press into the hands, start to rise up. If it's comfortable for you, find a seated shape. And rest your hands wherever feels right for you. I'm going to bring them in front of my heart. And I'm going to wish that you are healthy, that you are happy, and that you are free from pain and suffering. The light in me honors and bows to the light in you. Thank you for joining me for this today. I hope that it does bring pain relief and healing. Feel free to use any little aspects of it to keep that muscle strong and healthy, and I will see you next time.